Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for coming to spend time with me. I always appreciate when you click on my videos. Today's video is about the bees. I made a baby blanket. Here's just a simple corner to corner. And then I did a little kind of a ribbing along the edge of back loop only, front loop only, double crochets to kind of give it a little bit of a ribbed look. Very, very simple. KK, you know we love our C to C's, right? So I like to make smaller blankets that can just be like in the car blankets or, you know, secondary blankets for grandma's house, things like that. I don't always make giant full-size blankets, so that's where we get into this one. Just a nice little square. So I had 5 skeins of this and I used 3.5. They are 109 yards each. This is a 5 bulky weight in Sweet Delight Chunky, and Mint Charm is the colorway. As you can see, I got them on a good discount, and I've had them for a couple of years, I think. But my 5 skeins, I had all 5 different dye lots, and that doesn't happen to me very often. Sometimes you'll get 2 within a grouping, 2 different dye lots within a grouping. All 5 of these were different dye lots, so I thought that was kind of funny. But you couldn't tell; they all looked exactly the same. So, love a little C to C. It's very, very textured, and I do prefer to use the 5 stitch method instead of the 6. What I mean to say is that the standard corner to corner stitch, you use 6 chains, and in my preference I use only 5 chains. So that means that my double crochet is only 2 chains where you go up. If you know C to C, you understand what I'm talking about. If you don't, then there are quite a few videos out there that show you what a corner to corner blanket, how that is done. It's a fun stitch. It's kind of one of my go-tos. And I thought about, I don't make a lot of baby hats. There's always like the size concern. I know how to make a hat for me because I can put it on while I'm working it. But with baby hats, I don't always use it. I don't always make baby hats. And I don't think I've ever made it out of a chunky because it really would change up the pattern quite a bit and kind of swallow their little head. So, so yeah, so I've got another skein and a half of that. I don't know what, I thought maybe to make a lovey to go with it, but then it's kind of like 2 blanket things. So maybe one of my, I did start to make one of those snuggle bugs that I've made before. There was hang on. So I guess it was around the end of summer, beginning of fall sometime that my church had a garage sale event where you could come and bring your stuff and do a group yard sale in there in the parking lot at the church. And so I had found this pattern and used a bunch of chunky, what is that, chenille yarn or whatever it's called, to make some snuggle bugs. Now the pattern itself, it came with like antenna, like it came up and then there was a puff ball up on the top here. And so I made one like that and then started to kind of change up the top a little bit because those were a pain in the neck. I didn't want to do those anymore, but I still wanted to make these. So I kept practicing with different ways to do the top. So this is just one of them. And I thought to make up one of these with the leftover yarn that I've got to go with the blanket. So I'll probably do that. At the time that I sat down to do it, I know that this is regular crochet, but to do amigurumi or stuffies or whatever, you're supposed to yarn under instead of yarn over or something like that to kind of do away with the standard crochet look. But I'm not in the mindset to do that. I wasn't at the mindset to do that when I sat down with this, when I finished my blanket. So knowing that I want to do that and I wasn't in the right frame of mind, I put it down. But I'll probably come back to that, and I want to make one of these with the yarn under method instead. So the other thing that has kept me busy this week was I have so much, I think I mentioned this, I had so much Ogo scraps leftovers. Whoops. Here's a full cake or a full donut or whatever it's called, a full Ogo. And I had a whole bunch of scraps from a whole bunch of Ogos that I purchased over the years. They're kind of a couple of years old, I guess. But I had two bags like this. I had two big baskets like this that were just full of yarn scraps, these Ogo scraps. And I used some of it to border my keepsake blanket. And then the rest of it, I just kept trying to use in other projects and stuff. So when I recently was bordering my keepsake blanket, I decided that my next project, whatever it was going to be with this yarn, because I just need to get rid of it. It's taken up 2 of my project bags, and it's too much, and it's just on my mind, on my nerve, whatever. So I worked on a couple, and I'm pretty excited that the rest of the yarn that I have left kind of basically fits in this. So whatever is a scrap that's, not a full Ogo is being worked on or is in here. And I'm super excited about that because it was a pain in my patootie for a very long time. So the first, so I made some baskets, as I do, because I love baskets, and I don't, it's something that I enjoy doing, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with a basket when I'm done. Like, I already have like probably 10 baskets and I just keep making them when I don't know what else to make, Sometimes I have sold them at a vendor event before, a craft event, but I don't have anything like that on the horizon, so I don't know why I was making more, but I did. So the first one I made is this one, and when you've got so many different colors, it's kind of hard to incorporate a cohesive look. I mean, yes, scrappy is scrappy, but in the same regard, there's sort of an aesthetic that my mind is trying to make. So this one is all, see, it's like Neapolitan ice cream. This lighter color is actually kind of a light purple, but then you've got the magenta and the browns. So I start out on the bottom with what I think are going to be my least appealing colors, because it's just on the bottom. So let's get rid of those and then make the sides the star, right? So, but this one kind of worked out kind of the same because I kind of used all the same colors. Now, I did double crochets on the bottom, which makes it a little loosey-goosey. It's not as secure as the bottom. It's not as sturdy as a single crochet bottom. So here I did 6 rounds of double crochet, and this is how big I am. And then you start to work up the sides. And so I had this lighter brown color, and then I changed over to a darker brown color. I'm trying to do like a changing up of the colors or an ombreing or whatever. And then I ran out of the dark brown. So I went back to the lighter brown color and got to the top. So not super exciting. This section reminds me a lot of Neapolitan ice cream, but yeah, whatevs. These aren't spectacular. I'm not trying to knock your socks off, but just getting through some scraps. I need to get them out of my hair. So I work with a K 6.5 millimeter hook, and I hold 3 strands of yarn at the same time. This one, again, incorporating your idea that some of the yarn that I have the most of, I was trying to use that on the bottom and try to make the top the prettiest or whatever. And so this one I did single crochets instead of double crochets. So you can see how much, sturdier the bottom is, and it's not loose to puff up, it's not softy soft, it's a lot more sturdy. So I kind of just started feeding with the colors here. And then when I got to this section, it's kind of funny. There is a yarn by Craft Smart. Craft Smart is Michael's value brand, and there's a colorway that I've used many years ago, and it was a purple and an orange and a light blue that was all in this variegated yarn together. So this section here reminded me exactly of that. It was very reminiscent when I was working on that section. So started underneath with that bright yellow and a pale blue with the purple. And then I went to that one and was like, oh, I didn't mean to do it, but that's what it was happening. And then introduced some of that red color. And I wanted to kind of keep that light purple all the way through it because I had so much of it. So then introduced some yellow, as you can see here. And I'm just kind of trading out one strand As one would run out, I'm adding another strand to it. So I sort of wanted the top like to be a border of some sort, and so I went ahead and took out that purple strand and just did this last row with a second red. And so there's 2 reds and then a magenta in this top round. So I just work in the round, no stitch markers, and count out, do a little stitch mark. I put markers in to find out where my handle is supposed to be and how big I want to have it. And I generally only want to have 2 rows of single crochets there because it makes it too bulky in my hand when I want to hold it. So this is sort of my favorite method. And so like in this case, I would skip 10 stitches here and then chain 12. And you can just crochet around the stitch if you want to, but I prefer on my handles to crochet into the stitch so that you'll see the bottom of your stitches like that, but then your stitches are in place. If you just crochet around the stitch, then they can slide and bulk up, bunch up if your hand's moving them around and stuff. So that's just my preferred method. So color wise though, if I had this one to do over in my head, I would start with red and go up to lighter. But I kind of thought like this touches the idea of a flame. Like flames start out with blue in it, yellows and blues, and as they get hotter, they go to red, right? Is that right? So the oxygen in the flame is going to be the blue. I don't know, something like that, right? If you ever really looked at a flame, it has a whole bunch of different colors in it. It's not just red fire. So I really like this one. And like I said, I don't have too much left as far as I've got a lot of the magenta, and I've got like this section that's got the red and the tan, but then just other balls of yarn here and there. So we'll see whatever happens with that. But I am working on one more as we speak. So again, my 6mm. Oh, this one, I lied to you. This one is a 7mm. I apologize for that. I thought this was my 6.5. Anyway, and now this one is, I've got my oranges. These are 2 different shades of orange. And I started working it, like my sweater, my Harry Potter sweater. I did not want a Home Depot bag, but here we are. So I'm doing an oblong basket for this one. And I just finished the first row of where we're coming up on the sides. So here's my bottom, and I've just got those 2 shades of the orange and then some tans, kind of some beigeish color in there. And then you start to work along the sides. The tutorial for this is done by Tony from TL Yarn Crafts, and I love this video. I've watched it. I've made this basket before, like a bunch of times, all years ago or whatever. And there are a lot of different tutorials for making an oval base, like for a bag or something like that. And I have tried to make others and did not care for those tutorials. So I always go back to Tony every single time. So started that one this morning. And so it's single crochets, and then this row, and then we do a row of half double crochets, because the half double crochet gives you a 3rd loop to work into. So we all know our back loop and we know our front loop, but then a half double crochet has a 3rd loop, and we work into that to create this lip. So if you want to, let me grab one of my ovals. This is an oval. This is an oval, see? So if you want to make one of these, let me put this stuff down because it's too heavy. Not heavy, it's bulky. Here we go. So here's my oval basket. And that's what the bottom looks like compared to the top. So you can see that little foot that runs all the way around the bottom. So I will link that tutorial below because it is a fabulous one. So that's what I've been working on. When you're working with your scraps, you can do so many different things aesthetically with it. You can try to ombre your colors. You can try to maintain, the certain color scheme that you're working with, or you can, you know, really change it up like something like this. So I have enough. I do think I have enough of the beige and the brown. I mean, the this beige and the two oranges to make this entire bag just those colors. But I'm still deciding whether or not I want to put a few of the other scrap colors in here as well. We'll see how that goes. I'll show you when that's finished on another day. So that's what I've been working on. I've got this basket to finish. I'll share that with you when it's done. And who knows if I've got enough scraps to work on yet another basket when I'm done, because I kind of need to get through this Ogo yarn and be done with it already. So thanks so much for sitting with me today. Have a wonderfully blessed day, and I do hope you'll come back and see me again. Thank you. Bye-bye.